There it goes. Oh shit. Fun times there. Fuck yeah. Okay, here we are on the other side. As I said, they're poking through extra long because this is just something I had on hand at the time. Or, I can't remember. I bought them extra long because I may fit clamps on them to help route the wiring. So, just trim them to fit as I go. So that's the next part here, getting down to that. Okay, I've been going through this wiring, and you peel back 50 years of masking tape and you just find some strange stuff. When you start making changes, you know, the engine, fuel delivery, all that stuff, there are just some stuff, and you put gauges in your car instead of just having warning lights. Things get changed and wiring gets added, and you just don't use one thing or the other anymore. Like this green wire, I come to find out in the wiring schematic, this used to be the warning temperature light. There was 3 wires, these are 2 of them, that were wrapped up into the wiring harness leading out to the alternator there. And one was a blue wire, which at the time it was hooked up had to do with a vacuum solenoid, idle solenoid or something like that. So I took that apart, just traced that back, and found out it was connected to absolutely nothing. This is the wire. So that's out of there. I found this as well. This is all the bundle right here that comes out of the front chassis block. It's hard finding this stuff in the schematic. Coming down here, and I know I did not do any of this junk years ago. I unwrapped all this starting up here at the eyelet for the alternator. Get these other 2 stray wires out of the way here. And found this. All these wires right here. This is the one that runs down to the solenoid, starter solenoid, and all these right here go into the main front chassis block that has to do with running the engine, and all these lead up to all these splices right here. And what I'll have to spend time looking to see what this stuff is for, but I'm just not going to mess with it. I'm just going to clean it up. So here's a wire. This had to have been done at the factory. I don't know what's going on here. And here's a red with a black stripe on it. The camera will focus. Here, if I can get a bigger object in there for it. There you go. You can see the red stripe. And those 2 go right into the main wire coming off the alternator, which starts out as a black wire and then comes down here and there's a red and a black with a black with a red stripe, and just all this stuff. So I'm gonna try and neaten this up somehow, and we'll see what I can come up with, because this is just all bundled up underneath in a bunch of masking tape when they built this thing at the factory. Well, I've been doing a little work in here. I think I've made sense of where these wires go. I got rid of all the extra wire and spliced them all in one spot and shrink wrapped it. Pull it back here so you can see. this wire loom here. These are all them wires that were already hooked into the main feed for the alternator anyway, so I just cut those loops out and did a solder job on that, and that was the end of that. And then basically just started to feel out and arrange how this kind of went before. I've got these stainless clamps with the insulated rubber, and these are the extra long bolts that were sticking through from putting the steering column in. I planned on using these extensions to put these clamps on, just getting it all arranged and turned around and going the way I want it. I've got, here's the positive battery cable. I know it's black, but I got some red loom to put over it to identify it as the battery cable. That is being protected because it's close to the headers. And it runs down to the starter there. That red stuff, that's the heat protective covering. And the rest of it is just kind of goes where it planned to go. Not quite finished with it yet. Got to do this area and hook up the ignition to the coil and to the ballast resistor, and this is where the windshield wiper motor goes. Got to do that and get that stuff tidied up. So there's more work ahead. It's been a day out here, so I'm going to cut her down for tonight, and I'll be back. Something else I've been wanting to check is this hinge location where this distribution block is at. If that don't fit, I'm gonna have to make a change, and I'm hoping it'll be a small one. So got to get into the upper part of the garage there and bring down the right hinge, or the left one as it were, and check to see if this clears. I got the hinge on. It ain't looking good. We have an obvious clearance issue here that I didn't think about. I mean, it is close, but I'm looking at least a half-inch overlap here. To really test this, I got to get this thing to collapse. I can get this piece of exhaust pipe and some ratchet straps. Oh yeah. And see if we can get this thing to come on down. And see how I'm sure it's going to hit those things, but I got to see for myself. So that's what I'm going to try. One shade tree test rig coming right up. It's hitting it. Boy, oh boy, it's hitting it by a lot too. This is disheartening. There we go. Put the bionic man eye thing. Okay. Bring this down, you can all see. Catastrophe here. Come on, there it goes. Oh, shit, man. Go over this way. So I can get the right spot. Egg. Okay, I got an idea. So I've been looking this over, and I am going to try to, if possible, I'm going to see if I can get this spring closer, like from here, closer to here, right? At less than an inch. From the edge of the spring, just about 3/4 of an inch. And if I moved it in that much, it'd leave me like a 1/16 of an inch clearance for over here, right? Up against this bottom part. And that would mean like taking the spring off, making a new, and move, and on center line, moving this notch, okay, on center, moving this notch over 3/4 of an inch. And the one in the back too. But this right here is going to be a project for another day later on down the road. Okay, moving forward with getting this car functional. The heater hose that comes off the head on the right side of the engine for the heater core, I want to replace that and the other hose too, because those are old. And I could have used just like some straight stock heater hose, which the long one I can, but I wanted to get something molded if I could, just to make it look better and try and clear the valve cover. I went on the internet, and AutoZone's just seems to be the auto parts store I go to mostly, because it's closest to my house. So I went searching on them. So I made a wire form of like the each end of what it generally should look like. And I found this guy right here. And it matched up pretty much dead balls on, except for these lengths right here. This distance right here was just so good I couldn't pass this part up, so that's why I got it. So this is the sticker that was on it. Okay, so if you're working on a Pontiac, and I'm sure the 350 on up to the 455 is probably the same way, this one may work for you. This is either the I don't know what this number is. I don't know if it's the part number or the SKU number, but this number right here, this is the Duralast number that you punch in at the AutoZone website when you're searching for a part for this particular hose. So there you go. And I'll put like a couple of frame grabs in the video too, so you can see, you know, what it looks like on your cell phone or on your computer or whatever. So I got this thing here, and I made some measurements, and I'm going to cut them a little long, just so that You know, it's easier to cut off a little bit more than cutting it too short and finding out you screwed it up. So I made some marks here, took some measurements. I'm going to cut this and we'll go over to the car and fit it up and see how it works. Okay, I got it on. This looks okay, but I don't like this angle here. And this is the original mark I made. The top of that point is where I intended to cut it, but I cut it back maybe another 1/4 inch just in case. And I want this hose back behind the valve cover if possible. So that's what I'm going for. Get this down here. Okay, I trimmed it a couple of more times and got what I wanted. It's behind the valve cover, and I'm like pushing this fitting into the curve here, so I don't want to do that anymore. And for some reason, this fitting on the top of the heater core, it seems to be a larger diameter or something. I don't know. These clamps I ordered just won't go on there, so I'm waiting for another one of those to come in. But it's basically the way I want it. Okay, then that's the end of this segment. If you made it this far, thanks for stopping by and watching my content. Please like and subscribe and share. Sometimes I post on Facebook. Be cool.